Hello, I'm the Doctor. Welcome to DoctorGeek. Today, I'm doing a speed rundown of the 7th Doctor for my 12 Doctors of Christmas special this month. Be sure to check back tomorrow for my rundown of the 8th Doctor and every day after that until Christmas, so like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss it. Just a reminder, there will be spoilers in this video. I'll try to summarize quickly, but I will reveal key plot points, as this will be a full summary of events. With that said, let's pick up where we last left off. After taking his own life to defeat the Valeyard, the Doctor regenerates as he and Mel lie unconscious on the floor of the TARDIS. The Rani enters, having used a tractor beam on them, and tells her crew to leave the girl but take the man. In the Rani's lab, it is revealed that she has used the Tetraps, a race of bestial humanoids, to force the natives here into helping kidnap an array of genius scientists throughout time, including Albert Einstein, Louis Pasteur, and Hypatia. She now also requires the Doctor, and when he wakes and notices the Rani, he begins to anger, so the Rani knocks him out with a laser gun and injects him with an amnesia-inducing drug. She disguises herself as Mel, and once the Doctor recovers, she attempts to convince him to repair some broken machinery in his lab. The Doctor eventually returns to the TARDIS to find a more fitting outfit for his new incarnation. Afterwards, he returns to the Rani's lab and starts to notice inconsistencies in her story. Once the Rani leaves, Mel arrives, and despite the fact that the Doctor originally suspects her of being the Rani, and Mel has never seen the 7th Doctor, they are able to figure out that they are who they say they are. They find out that the Rani is adding all of the scientists' intellects into a giant brain to try and find a substance that she can use to destroy a passing asteroid made out of a strange matter. The Doctor and Mel make their escape, but the Rani is eventually able to find the answer that she is looking for, planning to use the substance to make the asteroid collide with the planet and create a time manipulator capable of altering the course of history. To stop her, they destroy the brain and prevent the Rani from ensnaring the asteroid, so she makes her escape in her TARDIS. Mel and the Doctor head back to their own TARDIS, with the 7th Doctor telling Mel that he will soon grow on her. The Doctor and Mel, looking for a swimming pool, land in Paradise Towers, a luxurious 22nd century high-rise apartment building now fallen into disrepair and chaos. The building is divided between roaming gangs of young girls called Kangs, with each group a different color of the rainbow. They encounter the Red Kangs, who have just discovered the death of the last of the Yellow Kangs, and are plotting how to attack the Blue Kangs. Elsewhere in the towers, one of the caretakers is hunted down and killed by a robotic cleaner, which appeals to the sadistic chief caretaker when he overhears the death. The chief sends caretakers to arrest the Red Kangs, and the Doctor is captured, while Mel explores the apartments and their residents. The Doctor meets the chief caretaker, who greets him as the chief architect, designer of Paradise Towers, and then promptly calls for him to be killed. The Doctor cites an imaginary rule from the caretaker's manual, confusing them enough to make his escape. The Doctor learns that the great architect's name is Croagnon, and hears from the Red Kangs that the Kangs and the caretakers have been disappearing more and more. The Doctor is taken to the caretaker's headquarters again, where he realizes that the chief caretaker has been allowing the cleaners to kill people in the towers, but that the killing has now gotten out of hand and the chief caretaker is no longer in control. The creature the chief keeps in the basement is demanding more sustenance and making its own hunting arrangements. The Red Kangs attack the headquarters and rescue the Doctor. He returns with them to their base, where the Blue Kangs arrive suddenly, but it becomes clear that they must now work together. The Kangs, caretakers, and the remaining residents all band together to fight against the artificial intelligence of Croagnon. They drag the creature into a trap and destroy it, and after a period of reflection, the Doctor and Mel leave in the TARDIS. On the planet Chimeria, the genocide of the Chimeron by the merciless Bannermen, led by Gavrok, is almost complete. The last survivor, Chimeron Queen Delta, escapes, clutching her egg, the future of her species. She reaches a space toll port where the Navarinos, a race of shape-changing tourist aliens, are planning a visit to the planet Earth. She stows aboard, meeting Mel, while the Doctor follows in the TARDIS. The Doctor and Mel won the trip as a prize for being declared the 10 billionth customer at a spaceport. As the tourist vehicle departs, the Bannermen arrive to hunt down the fugitive. Their vehicle collides with an Earth satellite and is diverted off track, landing at a holiday camp in South Wales. While there, Delta's egg hatches into a bright green baby that starts to grow at a startling rate. The camp's mechanic, Bill, starts to become attracted to Delta, much to the chagrin of another girl at the camp named Ray, who confides this to the Doctor. They stumble across a bounty hunter making contact with the Bannermen, to tell them of the Chimaeron's whereabouts, and Gavrok and his troops soon arrive. Gavrok booby-traps the TARDIS in an attempt to kill the Doctor, and a battle ensues with Gavrok and his Bannermen against the Doctor and his crew. The Bannermen are foiled by honey, bees, and finally, the amplified scream of the Chimaeron child princess, a sound which is painful to the Bannermen. Gavrok becomes so stunned that he falls into the booby trap that he himself placed on the TARDIS and is killed. Delta and Billy leave together with the child, and the Doctor and Mel slip away. The Doctor and Mel arrive at the spaceport Iceworld on the dark side of the planet Svartus. They soon run into Sabalam Glitz, who is trying to work off a debt that he owes to the crime lord Kane, and he is preparing to explore Svartos to explore a treasure protected by a dragon, aided by a map given to him by Kane. In exchange, Kane will return Glitz's ship, the Nosferatu, and clear him of his debts. The Doctor and Mel offer to help, but Glitz asserts that the expedition is too dangerous for Mel, so she stays behind at a local diner, meeting a girl named Ace, a young woman who turns out to have actually come from 20th century Earth, propelled forward in time by a mysterious time storm that appeared in her bedroom when she was trying an experiment with Nitro 9, an explosive of her own creation. The two eventually become tired of waiting and follow the Doctor and Glitz. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Glitz follow Glitz's map, unaware that Kane has implanted a tracking and listening device into it. In the ice caverns, the Doctor and Glitz find the treasureless dragon. It is a biped that fires lasers from its eyes. Mel and Ace have ventured into the caverns too, where they are defended by the dragon, which guns down Kane's cryogenically altered soldiers that were sent to kill them. The dragon takes them to a room in the ice, where it explains that Kane is half of the Kane-Zana criminal gang from the planet Paramon. When security forces caught up with them, Zana killed herself to avoid arrest, but Kane was captured and exiled to the cold, dark side of Svartus. The Iceworld is a huge spacecraft, and the treasure is a crystal hidden inside the head of the dragon. It is the key Kane needs to activate the ship and end his exile. Kane sends his security forces to the ice caverns to bring him the dragon's head. The Doctor realizes that Kane has been a prisoner on Svartus for millennia, and he retrieves the crystal from the dragon, eventually trading the Dragonfire to Kane in return for Ace. Kane powers up the Iceworld as a spacecraft, and it rises from the surface of Svartus. However, when Kane tries to set a course for Proemon to exact his revenge, he realizes he has been a prisoner for so long the planet no longer exists. In despair, he opens a screen on the ship and lets in the light rays, which melt him. Glitz claims Iceworld as his own spacecraft, the Nosferatu 2, and Mel decides to stay with him to keep him out of trouble. She tells the Doctor that Ace doesn't wish to return home, and he promises to take her back to Perryville via the scenic route, making Ace the newest companion and the last of the classic series. The Doctor and Ace arrive in Shoreditch in 1963, shortly after the Doctor's first arrival on Earth. The Doctor has unfinished business on Earth, the Hand of Omega, an all-powerful ancient relic of the Time Lord civilization that was hidden on Earth by the Doctor during a visit in 1963 in his first incarnation. Unfortunately, the Daleks have also heard about the Hand of Omega and are trying to find it before the Doctor. To complicate matters, there are two groups of Daleks at work: the Daleks who accept and those who reject the leadership of their creator, Davros, with each side wanting the hand for itself. The Doctor discovers a small military force who are tracking strange magnetic fluctuations in the area. They encounter a Dalek and are helpless until the Doctor defeats it with a timed bomb. He tells the soldiers that the Daleks are extraterrestrial and human weapons are no match for the Dalek firepower, so the best plan is to let the competing factions destroy themselves. What follows is just that, as both sides of the Daleks compete for the hand. At first, the Renegades are winning, until the Special Weapons Dalek gets brought in and blows the Renegade patrols to pieces, allowing them to secure the hand and return with it to their shuttle. The Emperor of the Daleks is told of the hand and reveals himself to be Davros. The Doctor insults him, goading him into using the hand against him. It turns out that the Doctor booby-trapped the hand, and it creates a supernova, obliterating the Daleks' homeworld. The hand smashes back into the Imperial mothership, but not before Davros threatens to destroy the Doctor's home planet and flees in an escape pod. The Doctor declares that the hand is traveling back to Gallifrey, and seeks out the Supreme Dalek, telling it that it is the last Dalek on Earth. Convinced of its absolute defeat, it kills itself. Later, Ace wonders if what the Doctor did was the right thing. Time will tell, the Doctor replies. It always does. The Doctor and Ace visit a human colony on the planet Terra Alpha, and are unsettled by the planet's unnaturally happy society, where sadness is illegal. Cheerful music plays everywhere. The planet's secret police force, the Happiness Patrol, run by the vicious Helen A., roam the streets wearing bright pink and purple uniforms, while they hunt down and kill so-called killjoys, and the TARDIS gets repainted pink so as to not look depressing. While exploring, the Doctor and Ace encounter Trevor Sigma, a galactic census taker who is visiting Terra Alpha to discover why so many of the population have disappeared. The Doctor and Ace have a brief period of incarceration in the waiting zone to find out more about the planet's laws against unhappiness, and they meet unhappy guard Susan Q, who becomes an ally, allowing Ace to escape while she is taken away to be enrolled in the Happiness Patrol. The Doctor, meanwhile, encounters another visitor to the planet, Earl Sigma, a wandering harmonica player who stirs unrest by playing the blues. Earl and the Doctor venture to the Candy Kitchen and discover Helen A's twisted executionist, the Candyman, a grotesque sweet-based robot. The Doctor manages to outwit the Candyman by gluing him to the floor with lemonade, and they escape through the candy pipes below the colony, where the native inhabitants of Terra Alpha, now known as the Pipe People, live. They want to help overthrow the tyranny of Helen A., so the Doctor returns to the surface and begins to stir up trouble, supporting public demonstrations of unhappiness, and encouraging the people to revolt. The Pipe People destroy the Candyman in a flow of his own creation, and realizing she is beaten, Helen A. attempts to escape the planet in a rocket, only to discover that it has already been taken by her husband. She tries to flee, but the Doctor stops her. The revolution complete, the Doctor and Ace slip away, leaving Earl, Susan Q, and the Pipe People to rebuild the planet, but only once the TARDIS has been repainted blue. The Doctor and Ace visit England in 1988, where three rival factions, the Cybermen, a group of neo-Nazis, and a 17th century sorceress named Lady Penfort, are attempting to gain control of a statue made of a living metal, Validium, that was created by Rassilon as the ultimate defense for Gallifrey. The statue has three components, a bow, an arrow, and the figure itself, that must be brought together in order for it to be activated. They have been separated since 1638, when, in order to foil the first attempt by Penforte to steal it, the Doctor launched the figure into orbit in a powered asteroid. The asteroid has been approaching the Earth every 25 years ever since, leaving a succession of disasters in its wake, and has now crash-landed near Windsor Castle. The Doctor plays the factions off against each other and finally appears to concede defeat to the Cyber Leader. The Cyber Leader tells the Doctor to cancel the Nemesis' destructive capabilities, and the Doctor asks the statue if she understands the Cyber Leader's instructions. She replies perfectly. The triumphant leader tells the Doctor to set the statue's course to rendezvous with the Cyber Fleet, and he tells them that the Earth will become their newest space planet, a new Mondas. As the Nemesis launches, Penfort screams and throws herself into the rocket sled and merges with the Nemesis. The rocket sled takes off and heads out into space. It arrives in the midst of the Cyber Fleet, and there is an enormous explosion, destroying all of the Cyber ships. The Cyber Leader asks how it is possible, and the Doctor replies that he merely asked if Nemesis had understood the instruction, not if she could obey them. The Cyber Leader prepares to kill the Doctor, but is stopped when a gold-tipped arrow is stabbed into his chest, finally killing him. The Doctor and Ace return to 1638, where they hear music being played. Ace asks the Doctor who he really is, but he just puts a finger to his lips and listens to the music. The Doctor and Ace are on the TARDIS when a small robot unexpectedly appears, inviting them to the psychic circus on the planet Seganax. They go, despite Ace's fears of clowns, and notice that aside from the others that have been invited, the circus is surprisingly empty. Besides the ringmaster, stagehand, and entertainers, the only people in attendance are a stoic family of 3 in the audience. They quickly learn that they are expected to perform in the circus, and those that fail to entertain the family are killed. Escape is nearly impossible. While wandering in some strange stone corridors adjoining the circus tents, the Doctor comes across a deep pit. Peering in, he is startled to see an enormous alien eye at the bottom, but he cannot investigate further, as the clowns have arrived to take him to the circus ring for his performance. Ace meets a man named Bellboy, who reminisces sadly on the fate of the psychic circus. Once a light-hearted and merry band of free spirits roaming the galaxy, their ideals became twisted and corrupted once they settled on Seganax. Meanwhile, the Doctor, who managed to slip away from his captors, meets a man named Deadbeat, who leads the Doctor through the tangle of tent corridors to where Ace and the Bellboy are held. Bellboy recognizes Deadbeat as Kingpin, the circus's former leader, and he realizes what he and the other circus performers have lost. Ace, Kingpin, and the Doctor make their way back to the pit with the mysterious eye. There, Kingpin shows him that the eye is connected to a mirrored medallion that he wears. The medallion is incomplete, however, lacking its eyeball, and the Doctor sends Ace and Kingpin to fetch it, while he stalls for time by taking his turn in the ring. A desperate attempt to placate whatever in the circus is relentlessly demanding entertainment. Finally, he confronts the 3 audience members directly, who are actually the gods of Ragnarok, extra-dimensional beings who feed on entertainment. The Doctor tries to entertain them, but they get bored and try to kill them. But when the Doctor's friends get the completed amulet to him, he uses it to deflect the blasts and destroys them. The Doctor and Ace turn down the Kingpin's offer to travel the galaxy with the circus and head back to the TARDIS. In response to a distress signal, the Doctor and Ace materialize the TARDIS near Lake Vortigern in England. They hitch a ride with archaeologist Peter Wormsley, who is excavating an old battlefield nearby, though he is surprised to find that his dig site has been taken over by the UNIT soldiers. The sound of explosions lead the TARDIS crew to Brigadier Bambera of UNIT, in charge of a nuclear missile convoy that has been facing inexplicable equipment failure and peculiar sightings of armored-clad knights. Following the encounter, the retired Brigadier Alastair Lethbridge Stewart is informed of the Doctor's return, and a helicopter is sent to collect him. At the Gorecrow Hotel, the Doctor shows interest in a scabbard excavated from the battlefield, which hangs over the mantelpiece in the hotel. It's hot to the touch and very, very old. As the new Brigadier stops to examine the TARDIS on the side of the road, she is caught in the crossfire between 2 groups of armored knights, using both swords and futuristic guns. Meanwhile, a knight falls through the roof of the hotel brewery, named Anselin, who wakes to recognize the Doctor as Merlin. While the Doctor ponders why this could be, the party is surrounded by an ominous group of knights led by Mordred, who also recognized the Doctor as Merlin, and is under the impression that he was imprisoned by his mother, Morgane. Despite being in the dark about all of this, the Doctor is able to bluff himself into making them retreat, but Mordred later performs a ritual using the scabbard to summon his mother, Morgane. The next day, Wormley shows the Doctor where he found the scabbard, and they find an organic spaceship programmed to open to the Doctor's voice, and carrying King Arthur's body, along with Excalibur, which is what was sending the distress signal, luring both them and the knights. Ace takes the sword, and when Morgane comes looking for it, she refuses to hand it over, but is forced to when Morgane unleashes the Destroyer. When the Doctor decides to take the Destroyer down with silver bullets, the Brigadier knocks him out, declaring himself more expendable, and shouts, "Get off my world," as he unloads the gun, causing the Destroyer to explode. Brigadier Bambera arrests Morgane and Mordred, and the Doctor and Ace enjoy a relaxing time with their Brigadier. The TARDIS arrives in 1883 at Gabriel Chase, a mansion in Perivale, Ace's hometown. It turns out that Ace has visited the house in 1983 and burned it down after feeling an evil presence, and the Doctor's curiosity as to why drives him to seek answers. The house is presided over by the mysterious Josiah Smith, and full of many odd guests. Something is also alive and evolving in the cellar beneath the house, and when Ace investigates, she finds 2 animated and dangerous husks. The Doctor rescues Ace, but releases an evolving creature known as Control, which remains trapped in the cellar for the moment, which is actually a vast stone spaceship. The husks which attacked Ace were the remains of Josiah Smith, who is actually an alien who has been evolving into forms approximating a human and casting off his old hunks. The Doctor helps Control release the trapped creature from the cellar, which is a being known as Light, who takes the form of an angel-like creature. Thousands of years in the past, an alien spaceship came to Earth to catalog all life on the planet, and after completing its task and collecting samples, the leader, Light, went into slumber, and Smith mutinied, keeping him in his hibernation, while Control stayed on the ship as the Control. With Light now free, he begins to go wild, trying to stop evolution that has run rampant since he last saw the planet, but the Doctor convinces him that his efforts are futile, and he dissipates into the surrounding house. It was this presence that Ace sensed that caused her to burn the house down in 1983. The Doctor asks Ace if she has any regrets about burning the house down now, and she tells him that she wishes she blew it up instead. The Doctor and Ace arrive at a British naval installation near Maiden's Point on the Northumbrian coast during World War II. Befriending the base personnel, they learn that the base, run by Commander Millington, is being used as a listening post to intercept and translate German-coded messages using the Ultima supercomputer, and to stockpile a supply of lethal nerve gas. Meanwhile, wheelchair user Dr. Judson has also been using Ultima to help decipher Viking runes that he's found in the catacombs beneath the base, warning of a being called Fenric, which has attracted Millington's attention, believing he can gain Fenric's power. The Doctor and Ace find a glowing oriental vase, left by the Vikings in the catacombs, but it is taken by Millington when they return to the base. As they prepare to use Ultima to decipher the writings on the vase, vampire-like hemivores emerge from the sea, attacking and converting the English and Soviet troops into more hemivores. When Judson runs Ultima with the vase, energy strikes him and he becomes infused with Fenric, who begins to give orders to one of the hemivores, called the Ancient One, to continue to assault anyone in their path. The Doctor reveals he has faced Fenric before, an ancient evil since the dawn of time, defeating him by challenging him at a chess problem. He arranges another chess problem and is able to delay Fenric while he runs off to seek a more permanent solution. Later, Soren, the last remaining member of his squad, enters the room and prepares to shoot Fenric, but Fenric reveals that Soren is one of his wolves, having descended from the Vikings that carried the cursed vase to the English shores, and Fenric takes over his body. When Ace returns to the room, she unwittingly helps Fenric solve the chess problem. The Doctor arrives too late, and Fenric orders the Ancient One to attack the Doctor, but a psychic barrier created by Ace's trust in the Doctor prevents the Ancient One from acting. The Doctor is forced to reveal to Ace that she too is one of Fenric's pawns, as it was he that created the time storm that transported her to where she met the Doctor for the first time. Ace's faith is shattered, causing the psychic barrier to drop, but instead of attacking the Doctor, the Ancient One grabs Fenric, pulling him into a sealed chamber and releasing a lethal dose of the gas. The chamber explodes, killing them both. The Doctor and Ace recover along the shore, before she and the Doctor return to the TARDIS. The 7th Doctor brings Ace back home to Perivale in West London, but the suburb is not as it should be. A mysterious black cat is wandering around, somehow creating a situation in which humans are hunted down and made to disappear to another dimension. Ace becomes worried when most of her friends seem to have disappeared, but the Doctor is more preoccupied with the behavior of the strange cat. It becomes apparent that the black cat is being controlled by a strange being in the other dimension. Viewing the scenes in Perivale through the cat's eyes and choosing which humans to chase and transport. An unhappy man named Stuart becomes his next victim, and Ace follows soon afterwards, hunted down by a cheetah person on horseback. Later, the Doctor is chosen, and teleported to another world bathed in a blood-red sky, where the Doctor is greeted by his nemesis, the Master. The Master is evidently unwell. His eyes and mouth show feline characteristics, and he uses the black cat, a kitling, to create a dimensional bridge for the cheetah people to hunt and prey on Earth. He tells the Doctor the planet is alive and has a bewitching influence, and the Master is beginning to show changes and needs the Doctor's help to escape. The Doctor determines that they are on a very ancient planet, which is dying. A cheetah pack then attacks, and during the fight back, Ace injures a cheetah, called Kara. She begins to form an attachment to Kara and nurses her, tending her injuries, which worries the Doctor greatly. In time, Ace's eyes change and she begins to transform into a cheetah herself, and she abandons the Doctor to go hunting with Kara. The Doctor catches up to the Master and finds him trying to pick the lock of the TARDIS. The Master gloats that he is capable of controlling the raw power given to him by the planet, and declares that he will use it to destroy the Doctor. The Doctor, drawing from the planet's power, manages to turn the tables on him, and soon has him at his mercy, and raises a skull to bash him with it. But in a moment of clarity, the Doctor realizes what he is doing is wrong, and manages to resist the planet's pull, turning away from violence. The Master, however, rejects this and continues to fight, but before he can strike him, the Doctor is teleported away, and the Master is left for dead as the planet begins to break up. Ace's metamorphosis has reversed, and as they walk to the TARDIS, the Doctor ponders that there are worlds out there where the sky is burning, the seas sleep and the rivers dream, people made of smoke and cities made of song. Somewhere there's danger, somewhere there's injustice, and somewhere else the tea's getting cold. Knowing his place in the world, the Doctor assures Ace that we've got work to do. The 7th Doctor would make one final appearance 7 years later in the TV movie, where he handed the keys to the TARDIS over to Paul McGann. In the film, the 7th Doctor is bringing the Master's body back to Gallifrey after he was put to death on Skaro. But the Master manages to escape and forces the TARDIS to make an emergency landing in New York City in 1999. However, the Doctor is promptly shot by a street gang as he exits the TARDIS. And while his wounds are not fatal, the doctors that treat him are. Not noticing that he has 2 hearts, Dr. Grace Holloway gets lost in the Doctor's bloodstream and causes him to die on the operating table. A strange end to the last classic Doctor. So, that was my speedrun summary of the 7th Doctor's tenure in the TARDIS. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos every week. including a new video every day until Christmas as part of my 12 Doctors of Christmas special. As always, thank you for being my companion on this journey today. I'm the Doctor. Bye for now.